Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 521 of FloWrestling Terminal Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined by the fantastic trio of Ben Funky Aspen, JD Raider, whose name is actually James Dean Raider. I don't know if that has been broken to the wrestling public yet on FRL, but allow me to make that known. Big Mouth Billy Bass, and Stephen Kyle Bracken. So good morning to all you guys.
What's up, dude? Where are you going?
I am going to San Diego. We'll get into that right now. Thursday FRL happens. It's all great. Things are good. And then, boom, added matches, add new wrestlers. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Roman Bravo Young versus Jack Mueller. That is happening. We sent David Ray to Arizona to shoot with Roman Bravo Young, who was working out, actually, with Jesse Ibarra and Danny Vega. So that stuff's coming out. We'll be hitting the site soon. We sent Mike to New Jersey to get stuff with Jack Mueller, who Roman's going to be wrestling, as well as Vito Arujau versus Sammy Alvarez, which I cannot wait for that match. There's so much attitude. There's so much grit. Jersey versus Long Island. Going to be awesome stuff, and we have content already going up. Alvarez was working out with Sebastian Rivera, so we got an interview with him, obviously. So check that out. That's all in the event hub if you want to look at that. We'll be featuring it over the next couple of days. And, of course, the other change to the card is Pat Downey is no longer on it. He's not going to be wrestling David Taylor on July 25th. And he's off the card for a variety of reasons, and his tweets Friday are not representative of our perspective or our opinions on women's wrestling. And just so you know, before we announced our initial card for July 25th, we attempted to make a women's match happen, and the wrestlers we reached out to were not interested in wrestling. And after we announced our initial card, Sally Roberts from Wrestle Like a Girl stepped up and said, "Hey, can I help you guys add a women's wrestling match?" And we said, "Yeah, absolutely." And with her help and cooperation, we were able to make offers to 8 different women to wrestle on July 25th, and they all declined. And our offers were comparable to that of the other matches on the undercard, and nearly twice what we paid Pat Downey to wrestle on Who's Number One in October. And throughout this weekend, we were still trying to add a women's match. And so we wanted women's wrestling on this card. If we do it again, we want women's wrestling to be involved. Today, a member of the Flow personnel is going to be meeting with members of the women's wrestling community to talk with them about how we can work better together and moving forward and for discussion and collaboration. So that's that. We are actively looking and getting very, very close to announcing David Taylor's new opponent. Very excited for that. We have a couple really awesome options that we know you guys are going to really like, including
Bo Nickel. Is it Bo Nickel?
I'm not saying.
I hope it is.
But
that's my pick. That's who I want.
Okay. Well, Ben Askren has spoken. We'll see what we can do. I mean, Bo Nickel is an option. We've explored a lot of very exciting options, and I think we're getting closer to a really, really cool match. And I bet by today or tomorrow we will know and hopefully be able to announce. So we're really excited. Guys, I don't know if you have any initial thoughts on the additions to the card.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Obviously, I think most excited for Darion Caldwell because he's the biggest X factor. Obviously, hasn't competed in wrestling at
oh my gosh, I didn't even mention that. Okay,
close to a decade.
I buried the lead there. So I am in the airport right now because
that's where you're going.
Darion Caldwell is back. I'm going to San Diego to shoot with Darion Caldwell. I never actually met Darion. He came to Flow Sports HQ, but I never got to meet. Yeah, I've never met him. And he is a mythological figure in the Piles household, especially for my brother Weston, who even way before the Metcalf stuff thought he was like the coolest guy ever. So I'm really excited to meet him, share that experience with him, and shoot content with him, watch him work out, talk to him about why he wanted to wrestle. He wants to do this. Yeah. He loves wrestling. He misses wrestling badly. Man, this is one of the most exciting wrestlers of any generation in terms of the variety of ways he could score and how he beat people. So, man, I couldn't be more excited to be going. We should have stuff up for you to see tomorrow with Darion. So, really excited. I mean, he's wrestling Luke Fletcher. Who would have ever thought in 1,000 years Luke Fletcher and Darion Caldwell will compete against each other? Luke Fletcher, I think, was in
So
5th
straight.
grade when Caldwell beat Metcalf. So, it's crazy. But, man, I've gone back. I have no idea who the favorite is in that match. Do you guys have any leanings?
Well, I haven't seen Darion Caldwell wrestle for a freaking decade, so I don't know what to expect. How do we know what we're gonna get here, Christian?
Well, at least he's still training MMA, so it's not like he's not coming off the couch. Yeah. He's not been a bum the past 7 years.
Yeah.
No, definitely not a bum. And Ben Askren will call anyone a bum at any point in time. So
it is the second best insult next to Dum Dum.
David called Pat Downey a dingus once. I thought dingus was good. Any third grade insults are actually pretty great. Dummy.
What do you
so my plane is actually.
You see my shirt today? UNK Wrestling.
What is it?
UNK Wrestling. Who's the champ?
Oh boy, Marty.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I didn't see it.
You didn't see all those foot stomps?
Stomped him to death.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, boys. Well, my plane is actually boarding right now, so I should get on it and not miss the flight. Oh, before I go, though, a little treat for you guys. Got a fire Dake Chamizo promo I want you to watch. Greg Warren's coming on soon after you guys talk for a little bit, so enjoy that. Enjoy the show. I'll be back on the show Thursday. Thanks.
Peace.
I don't know who is Kai Dake. I said the blonde one. I always say the blonde one. You scare me. You guys scare me. Absolutely, 100%. I know you guys scare me. This match, I take some personality. You don't challenge me in 74. Never. You gonna challenge me in 79. Okay, I'm going up. I don't got a problem with that. I'm gonna wrestle you. Who you are? Who you are, bro? You need to make your way. You need to be professional.
I think he's nervous. That's why he's trying to call me names and say things about me. He's just not confident in his ability, and it's starting to show. My opponent on July 25th is Little Frankie Chamizo. I've wanted to wrestle him for a while. He has a very unique style. I always want to test myself against guys who have medals, who have proven success. I would describe him as a trap setter and seemingly lazy. I think I can score really any way that I want. I don't think he can match my mental effort off the mat. I feel like he already knows it's going to happen. He doesn't have the same amount of confidence that he normally does going into the match. I was hoping that he was going to wrestle me in January in Italy. Frank will say he didn't duck me. I think I was a strong influence as to why he didn't wrestle.
I think that match can change the wrestling. Can change wrestling.
The style matchup that he presents for me is just like perfect for what I do.
Kai Dake wrestling style is like a horse. He put in his face like a mask. He don't think too much.
He expects to be more athletic than everybody else, and I'm more athletic than he is. He expects to be faster, more explosive. I beat him in both of those categories.
That guy is dangerous because he wanna beat someone. He's not a body now.
I think you're gonna end up with your head on the mat thinking, man, I shouldn't have taken this match.
Kai Dake, who you are? You guys care. Absolutely, 100%. I know you guys care.
He better be ready. He better be ready. There's a storm coming.
Absolute fire.
Let's go.
I love it. Hey, but what's the horse thing? I don't really get it. Why do you say Kyle Dake's like a horse? What does that mean?
I don't understand that either.
Is that an insult or a compliment?
That's a compliment in my book.
Also, he says that Dake wouldn't challenge him at 74 kilos, even though Dake was at Mateo Pelicone in his country at 74 kilos, and Frank didn't wrestle and just sat in the stands and watched.
Yeah,
Who
maybe
you
he's
is?
tired.
Who you is, bro?
Who you is?
I love it. I love it.
We didn't even talk about the other addition to the card that's really interesting is Sammy Alvarez, Vito Arujau. It's New Jersey, New York.
Can we talk about Darion Caldwell for a second, though? Because Piles, he wanted us to pick a winner. It's like, but listen, we haven't seen Darion Caldwell wrestle on a mat in, I don't know, 10 years. Is that what we haven't seen him wrestle on?
Since
it's been a long time.
2012, I think.
2012, I think. Yeah, the last chance he tried to make the to qualify for Olympic trials.
Okay. So, I mean, that's, I really feel like the end of Darion Caldwell's career, both the senior year and then post-collegiately, was really marred by injuries. He wasn't ever really all that healthy. And that I don't know, that leaves us like with a question mark of like, how good could he have actually been?
He's
and
a huge what if.
Yeah, it's such a huge what if.
For sure, for sure. He was on the Bader Show, and I didn't get to listen to it a lot, but I know he talked about how he's just like addicted to wrestling training. Like he really likes wrestling training. So I don't think he's been too far removed, although it's still not the same as guys who are, especially a guy like Luke Pletcher, who's coming off 5 years at Ohio State.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this is a freestyle match. Do you think that helps favor Pletcher at all? Because Caldwell was so good with the spladle and cradle, but I mean, it's not like he was solid from neutral too, but he was pretty diverse on top.
Let's see. Okay, so I just looked up because I couldn't remember. I know he wrestled in a little bit of freestyle. It says he made his senior freestyle debut at the 2009 Olympic trials, World Team Trials, taking third. So I remember that he wrestled really well there. But then again, I think the next year he got hurt, and so he didn't come back until 2012, and really wrestled the trials. So there was a big gap there. He was not a big freestyle guy. I feel like Pletcher is like, has done some freestyle, but is not like a huge freestyle guy. I don't know. Is that a fair
No,
assessment? You guys agree?
That's accurate. Yeah.
So I feel like we're kind of, as far as freestyle folks out, we're kind of have roughly the same thing. Obviously, Darion's been really active. He's 15-3 in mixed martial arts. He was the champion for a little while. Mm-hmm. He lost to Horiguchi, who's a beast. He lost to him twice. And now he was in the featherweight tournament, but that ended, right? Because Corona. So it's gonna start back up.
It didn't end up happening. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's in the semis, so I don't remember who he's gonna fight. So he's having a really good mixed martial arts career. So it's cool that he's coming back to coming back to wrestling because he's been gone to MMA for so long. So yeah, I'm excited to see him. I mean, wrestling video wasn't all that prevalent when Darion Caldwell was in college, but he was a treasure to watch.
Yeah, he was a blast, man, and arguably owns like the biggest NCAA win of all time, or at least
being a kid in Iowa when that happened. Was like earth shattering, groundbreaking.
Well, how old were you when that happened?
What was that, 2009? So I would have been 13 or 12. Depending on the actual day, crazy. Probably 13.
And I'm pretty sure Pletcher was around the same age.
Yeah, me and Luke are the same age.
Wow, crazy. You want to hear a funny story about that one? Let's see. So I was at Mizzou that year. Mark Ellis won a national title, and I was in the back, right, for some reason. I who knows? And I was walking, and I walked by Terry Brands, and he was he coached me at the Olympic team. We weren't super close, but we had a decent relationship. And we walked by, and he goes, "I bet you liked that, didn't you, Askren?" And I'm like, and he kept walking. I'm like, it was somewhat entertaining, but I don't know why you're coming at me, bro.
Oh, man. Terry was going to go hands on sight with you.
I think I would have got him. Never know, though.
He doesn't care how big you are. He'll take you out.
That's true. That's actually true. So, Ben, what do you think of Alvarez and Vito? Because it's kind of similar in the fact that Sammy Alvarez hasn't wrestled a lot of freestyle before, and Vito is obviously very savvy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I can't really recall Sammy Alvarez wrestling anything. I mean, I remember he was really highly ranked, and then I remember one of my guys wrestled him at Flow Nationals and lost a relatively close match, and that was kind of the first time I saw him. And then obviously became more familiar with him this year, and then when he was wrestling for Rutgers. He had a good year, but so much of it is predicated on his scrambling style, and he's really good on scrambling, and he's really good on top. And so I know nothing about his freestyle savviness, and if he's not good at freestyle, Vito will expose him because Vito is really good at freestyle. So if he's not ready for all the turns and crotch lifts and everything else, he's going to get beat down.
To kind of put into perspective how good Vito is at freestyle, at the 2019 Junior World Championships, he beat Adrisov, the Russian, before losing or making it to the finals before losing to Japan in the finals. But Adrisov took second at Urigan and won Allen's after that. So, and Vito beat him 8-1, I think. So just to kind of show you how good Vito is at freestyle, like that dude's good. And that guy won, I don't remember if it was cadet or juniors the year before too. Really makes you appreciate how good Spencer Lee is though, because Spencer teched Vito.
Yes.
No kidding. This one's really interesting just because these guys they both have their own kind of swagger. You know, Alvarez is so freaking Jersey, and it's awesome. And then, you know, Vito is man, he's just his own character. And I know Sammy was pumping it up on Twitter as Jersey versus Russia.
Call them Russia. Man's from Long Island, Sammy. like 20 minutes away from you. Get it right.
Oh man, that's funny.
Hyping up the match though, love it.
Yeah, that is something these guys have all been doing. And the one thing that Frank Chmuse is right about is this is a match, a card that can change wrestling, and I really think will once we see these matches.
Hey guys, give me some indication, on who Taylor's wrestling, because you guys leave me out of these discussions. I'm gonna have to come down there to Austin and shake you guys up. Listen, for what it's worth, the one I want to see is Bo Nickel. Now they're buddies. Will they do it? I don't know. I hope so. That's the one I want.
Too busy in Abu Dhabi hanging out on Fight Island with Jorge.
Is he really?
Yeah, he went there and trained with them.
He was with him.
Let me look at his Instagram. Is he really on Fight Island?
I swear. There were these pictures of him playing spike ball with Masvidal. I swear.
I don't know what the connection is there, but
he
their manager. He's managed by Melky also.
And I know.
Oh, no shit. He is on Fight Island. Right.
I told you.
Get Bo. Go. Stop hanging out on Fight Island. Get your butt back to America and wrestle David Taylor, for God's sake.
So, all right, we got Bo Nickel. Obviously, that was a pretty big one. I think a name a lot of people saw floating around Twitter or putting out on Twitter was Zahid Valencia. I think that would be pretty awesome.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, the ultimate is Jaden Cox, but I know that's not happening. I mean, right now, I would love for it to happen sometime in the future. But for me, that's the ultimate. Obviously, these guys got heat. Heat's great. They had a really awesome match series in 2017.
Yeah.
So that's probably the ultimate.
But then you got to figure out the whole weight thing.
Yes. Yep.
86. Now Jaden's all the way up at 97. What's he walking around at or trying to bulk up to? And does he want to mess up his going up by descending down and meeting at a catch weight, or does David want to not have to bulk up, or even can he bulk up anymore? Whatever.
Yeah, I think that's one we probably won't see until after the Olympics. But who else? Ben, if Bo, since you said they were buddies, who else would you like to see?
Well, the problem is, here's the problem, Kyle. David's too good. There's not a lot of people he can wrestle. You see what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Someone number 4 on the ladder, he's just going to tech fall them. So it's like, well, no one's really all that interested. There's no, part of what makes people interested in competition is not knowing who the winner is going to be. and with David, there's not a lot of people that make the cut there. So,
or tuning in to watch David Taylor beat someone that you really want to see get beat.
well, that would be the thing. So Downey was just so hateable. Everyone was excited to see him get his ass whipped. So that was the thing with Downey, that he played a great villain, so people just wanted to see him get beat up. We kind of knew what the outcome was going to be, which fair enough. But who else is that hateable? So I guess you have to be that hateable, or maybe otherwise it's got to be competitive. Ringer, I guess Ringer, Miles Martin maybe.
Miles Martin just beat Ringer at Senior Nationals.
I think Ringer, Miles Martin, Miles Amin, top 10 guy in the world.
I didn't think about that one.
Yeah,
he's not top 10.
Top 10 guy.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
You guys are doing like the UFC, and you just move someone up when you want them to.
No, I'm gonna look at our most recent rankings, and I'm gonna see where he is.
I'm finding him too.
Our man Kozak has appropriately ranked him.
Didn't he finish in the top 10 in the world at Worlds?
Yes.
So he's top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
That's fact.
But oh my gosh. Okay, but listen.
Number 9, top 10 in the world.
You guys still have him above Daringer? I
lost to Miles Martin.
Put it on the next card. I will listen. I will pay for this match if Miles Amin beats Daringer.
Wait, you only pay for it if Miles Amin beats him? You won't pay for it if Daringer wins?
Yeah, this is a bet. You guys are saying Amin is better. I'm saying
he is appropriately ranked higher.
I will put my money where my mouth is. I will pay for the match out of my own pocket if he loses. How about that?
There we go.
All right.
Sign it.
There we go.
Yeah. The cool thing is they're both in Ann Arbor. So we just go to Ann Arbor, set up a camera, and
boom. There we go.
Ben cuts a check.
I'll cut the check. If Miles Amin beats Daringer, I'll cut the check. If Daringer wins, Flo pays for it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes, even though I have no authority to say yes. But sure, let's do it.
Okay, Miles Amin though would be great. That's a good. I didn't even think of that one. That would be a good ad.
Yeah.
2 top 10 guys in the world. I love it. The other one that obviously I would love to see another rush against David Taylor, kick up some good old American pride. But I know it's probably too late in the game for that, especially considering what's going on with coronavirus and whatnot.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I think bringing some more international guys in, because we do have Chimizo on this card, will hopefully be a play with further cards. All right, well, really excited for July 25th. Even though there have been some shakeups to the card, it's still going to be pretty freaking awesome. And might not be done yet. I don't know. I think we thought we were done a couple matches ago, and stuff kept coming up. So
who's the other ad? I'm blanking. So we got Alvarez, Vito, Caldwell, and Pletcher.
Mueller,
RBY was added late.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I think it's really interesting because I'm not sure enough people give Jack Mueller credit for his freestyle
U23
success.
bronze.
Yeah,
in 2018.
Yep, made U23 World Team, was great over there. He was in the Fargo finals a bunch. He beat a lot of good dudes at U23 trials to get there. And then RBY, of course, has been on a couple world teams himself, and is one of the more exciting guys in college to watch. So I think it's going to be a really fun matchup.
And Mueller, a guy that was kind of injured at the end of NCAA season, so I think this layoff has probably he's been one of the guys who has benefited from the layoff. So he should come back. Maybe. And new training situation, too. Just a couple weeks ago, he's out in New York City, reunited with Cross.
So I'm assuming he's just spending the summer there, obviously, right? Or is he moving there permanently?
I think he's permanent.
Yeah, he's permanent. Yeah.
There.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then RBY, of course, I think CP mentioned David Bray was out in Arizona. Got some awesome stuff with him. Really interesting to hear him talk about Austin DeSanto. Ben, I don't know if you heard that.
I saw a little clip, but let's go into it.
He likes Austin DeSanto. They've had these 4 pretty wild matches, and he's like, I really enjoy watching Austin DeSanto wrestle. He's like, because he's a showman, and he goes out there and he wrestles hard, and he's got antics, and he's scoring points. He's like, he's just fun to watch, and he's fun to compete against and test yourself against. And then he also talked about, he described his grip as like this grip from hell. He's like, that's just unheard
got the
of.
Danny Hodge grip.
Yeah.
Crushing apples.
Oh, he could probably crush watermelons with that or something. But it was really interesting to hear RBY talk like that, just because he's not.
What is the overall series, Kyle? Is it 3-1 RBY?
It's 2-2 because it was 2-0 Austin DeSanto last season, 2-0 RBY this year.
Yeah.
And every match has gone really differently. You know, it was all DeSanto. Then it was DeSanto barely. You know, he kind of broke it open with the late 4-point there, but there was a 1-point match before then. Then it was RBY just, I mean, injury default or not, he was destroying him.
He was killing him.
Yes. And then at the Big Tens, it was razor close in RBY's favor. DeSanto never really could get his offense going in that one. So should be really fun watching that play out one more year next year. But I don't think you don't hear a lot of Penn State guys talk like that often. You know, I thought
don't hear a lot of Penn State guys talk too much too often.
So it was really cool to get to do that interview with RBY and hear him being so honest and open about everything.
Yeah. I've seen like so DeSanto. You know, he's obviously fascinating to watch because you just never know what he's going to do. It could just be something totally ridiculous. And you listen, as a fan, I don't want to know what's going to come. I want to see something just totally ridiculous. Train wrecks are kind of fun to watch. But as a competitor, I would think, it would kind of be like, I don't like this guy. I always, at least when I was wrestling and MMA also, I would have a certain distaste for most of my opponents. And DeSanto just seems so hateable as a competitor. So it is funny that RBY says that.
Yeah. That's what's really interesting about it. All right, you got anything else for July 25th?
I'm excited. I get to go to Austin. I haven't been there. Do I need a face mask at all times, or what do I need to do? Prepare for?
Yeah, you will. And I know someone asked an FRL question about just the safety of the event, and I want to get into that later. But yeah, you will need a face mask.
Okay. I could do that.
Listen, I don't know if you saw, but like the director of the CDC said that we can bury this thing if we wear masks for 6 weeks.
I don't want to get into the CDC, but okay.
I'm just saying what he said. Okay, that's just
okay.
Where your listen. If you want like a wrestling season, if you want college football, just please be smart. Don't be an idiot, because it's not trending the right way.
Yeah, let's not get a discussion. Someone's gonna get mad, no matter what, Bracky. People will be upset with what you say, no matter what.
I know,
because science, they will be mad. Okay, so let's move on. Hey, did the Patriot League really cancel football for the fall?
Well, they canceled. They did what the Ivy League did. So they're saying no fall competition, but we would still like to have football. So they're going to look at a spring date for football and fall sports and winter sports. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. So how many wrestling teams are in that?
I guess Lehigh is technically part of Patriot League, but I don't know how that
works since their conference.
Right. But I guess
wrestling.
Princeton and all them are in the EIWA, but they're also in the Ivies, and they're not going to be able to compete. So yeah, it could affect Lehigh. Maybe okay. Bucknell. Maybe Bucknell too.
Damn.
God, this sucks. All right, we need to. We need
that later.
We need to stop talking about this. It's going to depress us. Let's turn to a more lighter subject, and we have a special guest joining us today. It is comedian, former Missouri All-American. We're going to have 2 Missouri guys on here today. Greg Warren. Hey. What's up, Greg?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. Greg is joining us today. He has a new stand-up comedy special. So, Greg, why don't you just kind of walk us through your new special, where people can watch it at, enjoy it at. I know you were kind enough to send it over last night, and I really enjoyed it. So just kind of give us a rundown on it.
Sure, man. It's on Amazon Prime. If you got Amazon Prime, it's free. If you don't, it's a couple of bucks to rent or something like that. It's called Where the Field Corn Grows. I think, actually, after having seen that promo, I wish I would have called it, Who is Greg Warren? That was the greatest promo I've ever seen. Man. Who is Greg Warren? It's like primarily about farming and my lack of understanding. But there's a good wrestling story in there. I don't know if you saw that, Bracky. There's one really good wrestling story in there.
I wanted to ask you about that, but keep going.
Yeah. It started, I don't know, about 3 years ago. I was in Iowa doing a show, and there's a bunch of farmers in the crowd, and I don't know anything about farming. So I asked this guy, I'm like, what do you farm? And he goes, beans. And I said, like green beans? And they all start laughing at me like I'm the dumbest person. He thinks we go green beans in Iowa. Oh, that's green beans in Iowa. Don't that beat all? This fella isn't doing soybeans, which I didn't know, right? By the way, green beans, that's not that ridiculous of an answer. That's a real food. I didn't say jelly beans, okay? I said legitimate vegetable. And then this lady comes up to me after the show, and she goes, hey, I'm a farmer. She goes, don't feel bad about the beans. She said, I met this guy the other day. He didn't know the difference between field corn and sweet corn. And I was like, ha, 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 ha.
Greg, hold on. Someone does have to grow green beans, right? Someone grows them.
Yeah. Ben, do you know what the number one green bean producing? You know what the number one green bean producing state is?
Iowa?
Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the number one green bean producing state, which, by the way, is a neighbor of Iowa. They touch Iowa. Iowa should know about it. They act like they didn't even hear of that vegetable. They know about it. I live in Missouri. We touch Illinois. I've heard of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, I know these things. So do you guys? Well, Ben doesn't even know that green beans grow in his home state. So, do you guys know the difference between field corn and sweet corn?
Yes.
He's from Iowa.
Yes, I'm from
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, JD does. Yeah.
So, yes, this is a ridiculous conversation to me.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I mean, what's the difference?
Field corn is what they feed the animals, and sweet corn is what we eat. And once people like JD explain it, it's really easy to remember. There's a little trick, Ben. Field corn is grown in a field, whereas sweet corn is grown in a field. So you can see how they make it really easy for everybody. Yeah. So that happened, and I just started I told the story, and I started writing more and more stuff about farming. And then I went out and I interviewed farmers and did research and learned a little bit, and it became this special that's on Amazon called Where the Field Corn Grows. And and then I told this story in there. I wanted to throw some wrestling in there, and I told this story about this farmer that I used to wrestle when I was at Mizzou.
Who's that?
Yeah. There's between my junior and senior year, I missed All-America. I lost in the blood round my junior year. And Roper, our coach, Wes Roper, called me in for a meeting that summer. He's like, Warren, you need more competition in the practice room. He goes, this is what we're going to do. We're bringing in this guy next year once a week. He's a local farmer. He used to wrestle back in the day. He was real good. His name's Steve. I'm like,
that guy, he's legit. He's legit.
Yeah. Ben knows who he is. I didn't know that, Ben. Yeah, I thought he was just some old guy. The first day he shows up, he's old. He's
a champ.
Yeah, he was like 42, and I'm 20. I'm like, I'm not going to wrestle that guy. I'll play checkers with him or something. And and he doesn't warm up. He just sits there during the drills, and then he stands up And like an hour into practice, and coach goes, Warren, go live with Steve. And I go, you want to warm up or something, Steve? And all he does is he like just slaps both of his legs, just like slaps both of his legs and gets in this really weird like Greco stance. And I looked at my buddy Chip Bunner, who's on the team, and I'm like, I don't want to wrestle this guy, man. I'm going to hurt him or something. He's old. They blow the whistle, and I swear, like, he jumps like a foot and a half in the air. He grabs me by my chin and my head and just throws me on the mat and beats me for like an hour straight. Like, come to find out, Steve was on the Olympic team in 1980. You guys know what happened in 1980? We boycotted. We didn't go. And apparently Steve was still pissed, right? Like he just took it out on me the entire year. He was, So you know Barrett?
The entire year.
Ben?
Yeah, he came in.
Yeah.
I think he was NCAA champ at Oklahoma State, but he came in a couple times.
Twice,
So when you said that, when you said farmer, I thought you were going to tell a joke, but I mean, legit, there's no joke there.
No.
He was a farmer, and he was really good at wrestling also.
Yeah, he reminded me. He was like Ben before Ben because it was all unorthodox. Like they were like, you can learn something from him. I'm like, I can learn how to take a beating is about it. Because he would like, they would tell me that, he would try to help me be like, okay, the way you want to do this move, the first thing you want to do is jump a foot and a half. And I'm out, like the least athletic guy on the team. I'm done. And then he's like really big with athletes in action. It's like he's been all over the world talking about wrestling and sort of talking about his faith. And after practice one day, Roper's like, guys, Steve wants to talk about his faith. And so we're sitting there and he starts talking and I'm like, man, I'm not the most religious guy in the world, Steve, but I think God just saw what you did to me for a few hours. I don't think it's right. Like, I don't think it's Christian what he just did to me. So, he was in the when they let him when I placed my senior year. They let him be in the corner. He was in the corner for me.
Really?
Cool.
For like the 7th and 8th match, and I think, and for the blood round match, I think too. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He was a good guy, man. So I told that story, and there's a couple other things in there about wrestling, but thanks for watching it, Brad. It's off to a really good start. Yeah.
That's awesome, and I really enjoyed it and loved the way you incorporated wrestling into a few times. Probably where I first got my start with you and knowing who you were was a little bit different name, but it was Wes Wesley in the Red Alert. And I know I was talking to JD before the show, and he's even younger than me, and I know me and my friends, and he said his friends would do the same. We would just say Red Alert to each other, and no matter where we were, and we would do the hands in.
Oh yeah, Red Alert, man. My favorite Wes Wesley story was, I think it was 2000. Man, I can't remember. It was when the NCAAs were in Omaha, and
2010. I remember that.
2010. Wesley West was getting pretty big on Flow, and it was just something that I did, like a completely silly thing that me and Bader and Joe Williamson did, just fooling around one day. So we were gonna shoot another one, and Ben knew everybody, in wrestling. So Ben starts taking me around to all these guys, and we were shooting Joe Williamson's shooting stuff. So Ben hooks it up with Mark Schultz, and so we're shooting me and Mark Schultz, and I'm like pummeling with Schultz and acting like I'm wrestling with him and acting like I don't know who he is, and just Wes is an idiot, the character, and so we get done, and Schultz goes over to Ben and he goes, "Hey man, that guy, he kind of knew what he was doing a little bit." And Ben's like, "Oh man, he wrestled. Like he was like Schultz thought it was real. He thought I was like a Make-A-Wish kid that Ben was taking around to all these guys." And then we did this whole thing. It was when Max won a title, and it was we shot all this stuff during the Saturday. That Saturday,
right.
Max didn't have to wrestle until the finals. So we're just all screwing around, and Max is with us doing all this stuff. And I was like, man, if he loses and Brian Smith sees that we were screwing around on this thing for like 3 hours, he's never going to speak to me again. And Brian was like, no, it's good, man. It took Max's mind off the whole thing, man.
Yep. Hey, you know, my favorite part of that day was when you told Bruce Baumgartner we all can't be champions. That was my favorite part.
Yeah. It was really. It took a lot of. I think I should have been given some sort of consideration for an Oscar there, because I had to like pretend like I didn't know who all these guys who were like my heroes were. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did.
Alger like tried to toss me. Alger like was into it, man. Alger like threw me on the ground.
That sounds
man.
about right.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did
Yeah.
some of those skits without just busting out laughing. Like I was dying.
Oh, it was. We did a lot. I mean, we just cut it.
Yeah.
Joe Williamson and Mark Bader would make the. I mean, it started in Austin. We were just fooling around, and at one point I was going Greco with some homeless guy in downtown Austin.
No, I saw that. I actually, you can still watch like a bunch of these on the site, and I should have pulled it up, but I think I found the first one. And yeah, you're wrestling around with this Greco guy, or you were doing Greco. It looked like he kind of knew what he was doing, though.
He did too. Like he kind of knew what he was doing, man.
Let me see.
This guy knows Greco.
Let me see if I can get this pulled up while we continue the conversation. But yeah, no, that was fantastic.
Yeah, the other one I always use of yours, Brecky, I would love you to pull that up if you could. That would be outstanding. The other thing that I still use this all the time is the 1-star people bit. That one is so fantastic.
Yeah,
I use it very frequently.
Basically, like
the dogs in the pool.
Yeah, it's like it was like basically I think it was when all those Priceline commercials were on. Like you could stay at a 4-star hotel for the same price as a 1-star hotel. And I'm like, but you're gonna have 1-star people at 4-star hotels, and there's nothing 1-star people like better than the hotel pool. It's like they never seen water before.
Yes.
They're splashing each other, doing cannonballs. There's a basset hound in the pool. the dad's yelling at all of his kids. Timmy, Terry, Tommy, Tony, Tony. They all begin with the same first letter in those families, or they rhyme. Randy, Andy, Sandy, Candy, Mandy, Candy, Sandy, Bob. Bob's my sister's boy. She's in prison. Yeah, that's an oldie, man. Yeah.
Well, the other thing, you know, man, this has been like 2-3 years ago now. Was Stall Camp, and
it's my greatest
so
story.
good.
It's the dumbest idea that I've ever had, and it was the funnest time I've ever. That was so much fun, man.
I'll tell you what, it crushed, and I remember for a while after that, anytime somebody would do one of the tactics you guys like showed in Stall Camp, people would say, "Oh, he must have went to Stall Camp." Like there would be actual wrestlers doing those things.
Oh yeah.
I think my favorite thing about that one was you guys put out like a trailer. CP and Kyle put out this trailer, and we didn't really say much about it.
Nope.
And there was all these guys on the message boards, the Iowa message boards, be like, "This is terrible. You can't teach kids to wrestle like this. This goes against everything." And then, but Gable was such a good sport. He was in it, so they're like, "I don't know how Gable's part of this, man. This doesn't seem like the way." Yeah.
People lost their minds. They didn't. We gave no context. We were just like, coming next week, Stall Camp, and people lost their minds. They were calling for heads. They just assumed because you had all the wrestling like celebrities in like the little video, and they assumed that like I can't imagine how much they got paid to be in this, like to go along with this. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I found out there's some really good actors in the wrestling community, like Jake Herbert and Dave Habit. They make me laugh every time when I see that scene. They're pretty good actors, man. We had to do several takes of that. He finally nailed it. But yeah.
We've actually our producer Tyler got the Stall Camp trailer pulled up here. We'll go ahead and play that real quick.
Let's do it. It's going to ruin our sport.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
What these guys are doing is despicable. It's totally wrong for the kids. It's going to ruin our sport.
That's just stupid. That's just really stupid.
Do not go to a stall camp. That is a bad idea.
I really don't like these guys. They're clowns.
I would send my kids to band camp before I sent my kids to stall camp.
These guys are like a circus act. A bad circus act.
What these guys are doing, it makes me sick to my stomach.
In Iowa, we wrestle. We don't stall.
No.
That triggered so many people. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
And then, of course, once it came out, it was a big success. People really enjoyed it. But it was really awesome at the time.
I had a ball doing that, man. It was the wrestling community and all the great wrestlers. It was so cool to be in it.
Yeah, and we've been talking about your wrestling background. You talked about placing at the NCAA tournament, but I'm sure a lot of people didn't realize that when you're doing the Wes Wesley videos and stall camp. So can you just kind of give us a rundown of your career and how you got to Mizzou and your NCAA career?
Yeah, it's. I'm not sure I should be talking about my career on this program. It was fairly unremarkable, but it was. I started out at West Point. I went to Army for 1 year. I don't know if you guys know, that's not. You're supposed to go for 4. I was what they called in the Army a quitter. It was Jack Spates was the assistant coach there, and he recruited me to go to West Point. Yeah, and Jack was a very convincing guy, man. He was, and I love Jack, but he was, Greggy, come on, you got to come up here. It's going to be great, And I got up there, and I'm like, man, this seems a lot like the Army, actually. And then I transferred to Mizzou. I spent the whole year at West Point. I finished plebe year, and then I was like, I just don't think I want to do this. And I went to Mizzou and wrestled for Wes Roper. And we were in the Big 8 back then, and there's only 5 teams, but they were all good. It was Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Iowa State. And we usually finish at the bottom, but we weren't like Mizzou is now, but we were good. We were respectable. And I think my first year at I didn't really start, and then the last 3 years I started, and I got like 1 match closer. I think I was like 2 matches away from placing my sophomore year, and then my junior year I lost in a blood round to this guy, T-Don Fleischman. Probably the best match I had that year was I was in the second round against Townsend Saunders, who wound up getting a silver medal in the Olympics, Junior Saunders, and from Arizona State. And it was pretty funny, man, because Arizona State and Iowa were in the team race that year. And I was wrestling Saunders, and Gable was coaching somebody on the mat next to him. But if I would have knocked off Saunders, Iowa would have sewed up the championship. So it was real close. And it got like third period, and he was about to take me down, and I flat out grabbed his knee pad. Like, there's no doubt about it. I just grabbed it. And the ref was like, I think he even asked me. Like, he was like, at the point, he's like, did you grab his knee pad? I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, I did. And Roper told me Gable is in the other corner just going crazy. He's like, what's that? That's a stupid call. He didn't grab his knee pad. He's just completely – Dan Gable was basically in my corner for about 30 seconds. And then – so, yeah, I lost that year. And then my senior year, I placed 7th. It was cool, man. I wrestled some guys. I won't tell you the guys that I beat because I will. Because we're good friends, but Bourmet was a freshman that year, the Michigan coach, and I beat Bourmet in the blood round. Let me be very clear: Bourmet was way better wrestler than I was. It's just sometimes you can. I was a senior and he was a freshman, and I just caught him off guard a little bit. But he was, Bourmet obviously had a great career after that. He's a great coach and a great guy. But yeah, and Pat Smith was the champ that year. That was his, I think that was his second title, and Tom Ryan was got second that year.
It's a good bracket.
Yeah, it was a pretty good bracket. Ray Miller, who's a guy, I don't know if a lot of you guys have heard of Ray Miller.
I remember him, NCAA champ from Arizona State.
Yeah, he took fourth. He was really, really good. This guy named Dave Walter from Purdue took third, who was really, really good. And
should we create this bracket now? Run it back.
The best. I would have a heart attack. I can't do that. So that was.
You should brag about your career more. I went over Sean Bourmet and went over Sean Bourmet.
It is, true. Man. It is. It feels silly because you guys ever have, Ben? You ever had that I'm sure all you guys have. Like when I was a freshman, I think I lost to some senior, a freshman in high school, and the guy wasn't that good. And then I wound up having a pretty good high school career. And this guy's like, yeah, I beat Greg Warren. I'm like, yeah, man. When I was a freshman, you suck.
Count it.
And I'm sure that's what Bourmet's thing. You're like, yeah, I was a freshman, man.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we have that clip of you pummeling with the homeless guy pulled up, or here ready to go. I want to play that really quick.
Classic.
When you achieve that sort of achievement, people are looking to knock you off. I never know when someone wants to know.
I just love how Bader's just sitting there laughing.
Bader would never instigate anything. He would not do that.
Oh man, that's great. There's so many great parts of that. I love when you're on the second one when you're out on the date with the girl and you're trying to give her the headgear.
It's funny, that girl.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That girl is Nikki Glazer, who's a pretty famous comedian right now.
Oh, really?
Nikki Glazer. Yeah, that girl in the Wesley West video is Nikki Glazer that I'm on a date with.
How does one go from Division I All-American to stand-up comedian?
It's a natural progression.
Very normal, done many times.
I mean, I didn't go right into it. I took a job. I was selling peanut butter and potato chips for this company, Procter & Gamble, for a while. And I was doing stand-up at night, kind of part-time. And then I got tired of selling Pringles. And I was making a lot of money. I was making a ton of money. And it was when I first got to know Brian Smith. I was trying to recruit guys for Procter & Gamble from the athletic department, so I got to know Brian, and then I told him one day, I'm like, I'm quitting my day job. I'm going to become a comedian. He's like, what are you talking about? And then I don't know if Ben remembers this. I think Ben was there when Brian would have me go up and do my act for the guys, for the Mizzou guys. I would go before practice, and they loved it, and they would always want me to go long so practice would not start. I think I got way more laughs than I deserved back then because I know what they were doing. They're like, yeah, man, if he keeps going, we don't have to start running right now.
Oh, that's incredible.
So true. Yeah, we got to see Greg quite a bit. I mean, you did the golf outing sometimes. You did a couple of the fundraisers. And then, obviously, I don't think Deja Vu's open anymore, Greg, is it?
It's not. No, it's not. Yeah.
Oh, does that depress you?
Sad. A little bit. Yeah, it does, because it was kind of the first time I did stand-up comedy. I just remembered this now. Was I was wrestling my freshman or sophomore year, and Craig Martin was this guy who was All-American at Mizzou, and Craig worked at Deja Vu in the summers as a bartender, and he just signed me up for this comedy contest at Deja Vu. And he told me 2 days before, he's like, hey, man, you're doing a show. Because I used to, try to make the guys on the team laugh. And Roper, who was a pretty tough coach, it was the coolest thing he ever did. It was Friday practice, and we were like, oh, this is going to be rough. And he goes, guys, we're going to knock off about an hour early today and go down and watch Warren do stand-up comedy. And it was pretty cool. So,
wait, the coach took the whole team to the bar?
No, it wasn't at a bar. It was outside. They had a festival type thing outside. But yeah,
it's the best practice ever.
So the whole team was out there. And
that's really cool.
God, Thank God there was no cell phones back then, or somebody would have a tape of that god awful performance, and nobody would watch my my upcoming comedy special. Yeah.
When did you shoot it? Because I'm sure with everything that's happening now, you're glad you got it in time.
Yeah, I actually shot it about a year ago. We shot it in Edwardsville, Illinois, and I wanted to do it like sort of farm adjacent. And Edwardsville is near a lot of farmers. So the place was packed with farmers and wrestlers. Coach Spates, Jeremy Spates, who's the head coach at SIU, had a ton of he brought a ton of wrestling folks from SIU, and Brian Smith and his wife Denise were there, and Wes Roper, my coach, was there. Chris Whalen was there. It was really fun.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah,
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's awesome.
You guys got anything else for Greg?
I don't. Great seeing you as always. I'm sure we'll cross paths again soon, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell your family I said hi. Tell Max I said hi. And yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Where the Field Corn Grows, and it's off to a great start. But I hope a lot of wrestlers will watch it.
Awesome. We hope so too. Like you said, Amazon Prime. If you have it, if you don't, go buy it. It's worth it. It's really funny. Greg Warren, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you bet, guys. Thanks a million, man. I appreciate it. Great seeing you.
You too.
Who
man.
is Greg Warren?
Who is? Mid alert.
All right. See you, Greg.
See you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome time with Greg. It really is really funny. I enjoyed it last night. Where the Field Corn Grows on Amazon
My wife
Prime.
is already. My wife's watching upstairs right now. Apparently, she's in the Facebook chat.
That's awesome. Shout out Amy Askren.
Nice.
So some more breaking news we had on Friday. What?
How is she watching us and watching him? How's that possible?
She has a phone, right? She probably watching Facebook.
She probably muted us.
Yeah. All right.
Rude.
So Friday, also some breaking news in the NCAA world. Real Woods entered the transfer portal. I know after this decision was made by Stanford, they're going to be around for another season. We weren't sure what guys were going to do. Shane Griffith said he was going to hang out and see what happened for a little bit. Real decided to go ahead and put his name in the portal. But then Izzy Style made an Instagram post that was a picture of him and Real. And, of course, he was Real's high school coach at Montini Catholic, and was like, time to – guess we're going to enter the fight game right now, and like tag Jackson Wink. Do we really think he's going to do that? It seems kind of crazy for a guy that was at Stanford that would just go there for a year, because if you're at Stanford, it seems like academics are pretty important to you, because he could have gone anywhere in the country he wanted to. He was a blue chip recruit.
Yeah.
So do we really think that, or we think we'll see him in college wrestling next year?
I would
next
say
year Stanford still competes through next year, so I assume. Well, I guess you wouldn't enter the portal if
he's in the portal though.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So I mean,
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to generate some hype. I mean, obviously, any type of stuff where people have questions, or like I said, they don't know the outcome, like I was talking about earlier. That's gonna elicit more interest. And so that's probably what Izzy's doing. And, who knows? Maybe there's a small portion of Real that wants to go to fight MMA right away, but I would assume he's going to end up somewhere and wrestle for the remainder of his college career.
Yeah, and you got to imagine, too, that it's going to be at somewhere like an Ivy or a Northwestern or like somewhere academically.
You think? For sure?
I mean, I don't know that for sure. And I tried to find a school list for Real when he was coming out of high school, but I couldn't find one, or anyone when he committed to Stanford, anyone listing who his other top schools were. Hold on,
Brecky. If this guy wants to fight MMA for a job, why does he need to get a good degree? Just go fight MMA and then parlay that into.
He doesn't, but I know. I remember coming out of high school though that like he really wanted to go to Stanford and wanted to get into Stanford.
Yeah.
So, and I can't imagine that you would go and do that if it wasn't important to you. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't imagine going to do all that hard work and then going to fight MMA. What a waste of an education.
That's very true, too.
You can't fight MMA forever.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then hopefully if you have some success in MMA, you parlay that into some type of entrepreneurship. I mean, I wouldn't think someone would be going from MMA to 9-to-5 desk job somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah.
You never know, I guess.
Okay. So
there's Izzy's Instagram photo there with Woods talking about going to MMA.
Yep. They're obviously close, and I saw they were watching the UFC card this weekend together as well. And then some other news, JD. I saw you put this in the doc. Could I have some more guys stripped of medals?
No. So do you remember when the IOC, or there's rumors now, Ivan Freestyle, the guy who tweets a lot about Russian.
He knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. So it sounds like UWW or the IOC is going to announce a double gold for 2012 heavyweight because both the original gold and silver tested positive for steroids.
Oh, my gosh.
I think I at least know the original silver was oral Turinabol. I can't remember exactly what the original gold. I can't remember originally what Matsminashvili tested positive for. It might have been Turinabol as well. But anyways, so last year in January, Matsminashvili tests positive. So they bump up, or like it was thinking that Makov, the Russian heavyweight, since he got bronze and lost to him, was going to bump up till silver. And then Tomazov tested positive in July, and that's when Tervel kind of got his bronze, if you remember that. But now with the double bronze system, it's kind of weird. You can't just be like, this guy gets silver now. So it sounds like they're going to have two golds and two bronzes for the 2012 heavyweight.
So many cheaters.
No silver, just two gold, two bronze.
Nope. Makov and Gashimi, the Iranian heavyweight and Russian heavyweight, will get gold, and Tervel and the Kazakhstani heavyweight will get bronze.
Wow.
From that year.
Tyler, can we pull up the Photoshop that Ivan did here? Because not only do you get breaking news from Ivan, you get pretty awesome Photoshop skills.
Yes. And now,
look at that.
To bring it back to the top 5 Russians from the last decade, Makov, in my opinion, is now in there with an Olympic gold medal. And in 2015, won medals, bronzes in both freestyle and Greco. Pretty impressive.
Well,
he also
guys,
won
it sounds like we have to wait. We're going to have to wait another decade to actually make this list, because who knows who's going to test positive in the next. I mean, it's
the
10 years.
Limitations is up at the end of this year.
No, but for 2016.
Yeah, for 2016.
That's quite a ways off.
So I'm hoping maybe one of these guys. Makov actually right now is under investigation. He tested positive at Pelicone. So
they're all on steroids.
I know.
Diaz was right.
Yeah, Diaz was right. So, but if he tested positive at Pelicone, and it comes out that was correct and official or whatever, that would not affect his 2012 medal. He would have to test positive from his samples in 2012.
Wow.
He used the old Peyton Manning. It was my wife's.
It was my wife's. Yeah,
his wife's.
Oh man.
So yeah, I'm hoping maybe they'll catch Makov from 2012, and we can bump Tervel up to a.
He's just gonna keep getting bumped up the ladder. Heck yeah! If he's the only clean athlete, give him the freaking gold.
Wow.
So
but that I believe will be the first ever double gold medal officially at the Olympics.
Wow.
For wrestling.
Wow, so awesome.
Wow.
So awesome happening 8 years later. So exciting. That's what I love about the Olympic results. You never know if they're final until 10 years down the road.
Oh yeah.
All right. Crazy. Ben, you got anything else you want to jump into cues from
Yeah,
us?
well, you know what? No, well, it's kind of a cue for an F. It's a comment from one of the people in the Facebook chat, and that's, Izzy has a lot of guys at Michigan, so these are Real's old teammates. Bormet obviously has that Illinois connection also, and so what if we talk about that 2022 NCAA championships being in Detroit, and we talk about all the people they could bring back for that. Add Real Woods and they're the favorites.
Yeah, no kidding.
They are.
Michigan, not an Ivy, but I feel like sometimes
it's a very good school.
It's a very good school, and people sometimes forget that or don't realize that because it's a Big Ten school. But
and if you go there, you get to call yourself a Michigan man, which sounds sounds badass.
Yeah, I think you should go to Michigan.
So looking at 141 depth, I actually did their depth chart. We project Joey Silva there because I think Savon Miocic will be back.
For God's sakes!
I'm just telling. Ben, I'm just telling you what is there. I'm not saying he would beat Real Woods. I'm just saying. Although Real Woods Joey Silva is the Shoegate. That's Shoegate from Iron Man.
Oh my gosh, that is, isn't it?
When Izzy lost his damn mind and got face to face with Palazzo. So this could be must-see TV.
Juicy.
Yeah.
So juicy.
I think we need it.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, he's going to Michigan.
Did
Real
we just
Woods.
make Real Woods' decision for him?
Yeah, we did. And he has to do it now because of Shoegate. But they also have Drew. They have every Matten brother. They have collected every Matten brother. And Drew Matten and Cole Matten are both at 141. I would imagine Cole's going to redshirt since he was a true freshman last year, and it'll be Drew Matten and Joey Silva battling for that spot. But now, you could possibly throw in Real Woods.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So then in 2 years, they're going to have, because we already told Bormet he has to redshirt everyone for one more year until it comes to Michigan. They would have Savon Miocic, Real Woods.
It's just
Massa,
real, by the way.
I mean, no, definitely not.
It's real. I promise you, it's real.
Are you sure?
I swear, it's real.
Are you messing with me?
No, man, I'm not messing with you.
Okay.
It's
all right. Amin, who am I forgetting?
Amin Massa. Did you say Massa?
I said Massa. There's something else really good that I'm forgetting.
Well, you still have Mason Paris.
Mason Paris, yes, thank you.
And then I'm really high on Gage Garcia, who's coming in at 197 pounds.
Dual sport athlete.
Yes, dual
he's
sport
play
athlete.
Football, at least for this. Well, I shouldn't say he's going to play, but he's going to be on the team.
Yeah.
Hopefully gets to play this season. The Big Ten and Pac-12, kind of speaking of schools from those conferences, both those conferences announced. The Big Ten announced all sports conference only schedule in the fall. The Pac-12, it was all sports except cross country and women's field hockey, I believe, are going to move to conference only schedule in the fall. So I don't think those are going to be the last conferences we see.
I don't know, man. The SEC and Big 12 do not want to do that. I know it's well, the Big Ten commissioner, I believe his name's Kevin Warren. He blindsided everybody. They literally have a pretty daily call with the Power 5 commissioners. He told no one that he was going to do this, that the Big Ten was going to do this. He didn't tell any of the other conferences the Big Ten is playing against in non-conference play, mainly in football, that he was going to do this. And I know Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, when asked him, that someone called him up right after this happened, it was like, are you going to do this? And he's like, no. Like, the SEC and Big 12, they want those games to happen. I know the SEC said yesterday they're going to wait till later in July to make a decision on that, and so is the ACC. The ACC did say fall sports can't start till September 1, but that's only really like a week or two different than when they would have started. Yeah. So it's not that big of a deal. So we'll see. I don't know, man. It's not going to be a normal season. It's going to look different. The matchups, the schedule is going to be different, but
it's going to be a shit show.
Yes, it probably is. But I'm confident there will be a season. There will be an NCAA championship. And maybe I shouldn't be, but you know what?
This seems like
sue me.
Schools going to conference only seems like a small Band-Aid on a potentially large
Possibly. I think they just made the decision too soon.
Yes.
What is it? What are you doing making the decision right now? Why don't we just wait a few weeks? You have the few weeks to spare. We can wait a few weeks and see what's going on.
It also seems strange too, like, what? So, and there's reasons to do conference only too, but like Iowa can't play Iowa State, but they can go to Happy Valley and play Penn State.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
it's kind of weird.
Dumb.
It's so dumb. West Virginia, for example, is going to play Maryland in their non-conference. Well, Maryland's in the Big Ten. Those schools are about 3 hours apart. But in their Big 12 play, they're going to go to Lubbock, Texas, and Austin, Texas. So how much sense does that make?
None.
Well,
exactly.
I mean, TV deals a lot of times are done by conference. So I think that probably had something to do with it.
Oh, well, yeah, that's why they're in the conference.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying not playing the conference schedule. If they wanted to fix something, they should honestly just go to a regional schedule to where you play your conference opponents. And then, but if like West Virginia doesn't have to go to Texas, they play Maryland and they play Ohio State or Cincinnati. You play these regional teams.
Yeah.
But
here we go, solving the world's problems on FRL.
Well, that's the thing too, is everyone's like, we'll just move football to the spring. I don't think you can't just pick up and move a sport that goes that long to the spring. Because I guess you're going to start in February. You would start practices in January. Well, then you have a season that's going until like April, maybe May. And then what do? They just do they move football back? Do they just start the next season in the fall? So that means you get like a month off, and then you're back for training camp in August for fall camp. Just can't. You can't do it. So it either has to be in the fall or not
and you
at
run
all.
into like eligibility issues.
Oh well, guys, if you have any player that has any inkling that they'll be in the NFL or get drafted or get signed as a free agent, they're not going to play. And I wouldn't either if I was them. It doesn't make any sense.
And with this schedule, have fun on playoff committee when it comes down to
seriously.
A couple.
Hey, play nobody, Paul. No, yeah, it's going to be a total disaster because what if the Big Ten's playing nine games? They're playing conference games, and then the SEC and Big 12 are playing 12 games and playing non-conference games. So it's going to be a total disaster. But I need my college football, or I'll riot. So, you got anything else, Ben?
Not on college football. I don't really watch. I don't really care.
No, I just mean anything in general before we get to questions from friends.
No, I thought my idea on Real Woods was really good. I thought, I'm trying to get Michigan a title over there, so Coach Fournette can give me some, he can give me a royalty or something when they win, because I had the idea.
And Bourmet did have like 1 or 2 MMA fights, so
he did.
Dude fought Vanderlei Silva.
Yeah, and like non-sanctioned one, and it was wild.
Bare knuckle. That dude. Shout out to him.
So wild.
That's crazy.
Yes.
All right, let's get to some Q's from F's. This first one from Rick Robinson. This JD, I'm counting on you to answer this. Any D2 wrestler beside Carlton, Hasselrig win D1 or place high? What year did they stop letting D2 winners compete in D1 nationals?
Yeah, so if you don't know, Hasselrig, kind of a legend, won 6 NCAA titles. He actually played football for Lehigh, I believe, his freshman year, before transferring to Pitt Johnstown, and then proceeded to win D2 and D1 at heavyweight every year after that before going into the NFL. So, legend. The Ropers actually were all over this, replied last night. Rebecca saying they stopped in 1990, but the last 4 years of athletes were grandfathered into 1994. So that's kind of cool. And then Lee replied with Grace Simmons. But I thought someone, I'm not 100% sure, someone fact checked me, but Grace Simmons wrestled for Lockhaven, who's actually NAIA at the time, not Division II. And although I did compete Division II. I unfortunately am not the Division II wrestling historian and cannot tell you.
Damn it, JD.
If
Well, there was I know
there have
SIUE
been a bunch of All-Americans.
a lot. I believe SIUE had quite a few because they were really good. I want to say in the 80s, and they had a bunch of guys who did really well at the Division Ones. I don't want to say specific names in case I'm wrong, but that's definitely true.
And it wasn't just champs. I believe Division II finalists. Both of the finalists got to compete. So I know there's been a decent amount of All-Americans, but to my knowledge, Hasselrig, off the top of my head, is the only champion.
Okay. Good
Wait,
stuff,
what about Wade
boys.
Chalice? Wasn't Wade Chalice?
He wrestled.
He was at Clarion. Wasn't that D2 at the time?
Could have been. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
someone check. Someone in the Facebook chat.
I don't know. Has he blogged about it? All right, moving on to USADA Cup Collector. What other current
CSP.
MMA? Yeah, at all CSP. What other current MMA stars would you like to see in freestyle exhibition matches? Seems like a great way to bring in fans and generate a lot of buzz. And they gave the example of Daniel Cormier, Chris Pendleton.
That happened.
Yeah,
Long time
Pendleton
ago.
replied to this. Unfortunately, that match is on YouTube.
Yeah, he did. But what would you like to see, Ben? I know we talked when Cejudo retired a while back about him. I don't know who else.
Yeah. The hard thing is when they're actually, and this is why I'm very curious to see how Darion Caldwell does, but when they're actually training MMA, it is very, very difficult to compete with the best of the best, right?
timing.
Because they're so good, the timing's so good, everything's so good, and so maybe we could do an MMA guy versus MMA guy. And actually, back when I did FPL, I got Gray Maynard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dennis Bermudez wrestled. They wrestled each other. They were both MMA guys. Both had a lot of success in the UFC. Yeah, so I think I would be interested in more MMA versus MMA. That would be more exciting to me.
I can tell you one who I think most people, fans of wrestling, would like to see. I personally do not, because this guy's a jabroni. But Dylan Dennis, I think a lot of people want to see him get thrown to a wolf.
I got a contract
like every
for a high school kid. He wouldn't wrestle Keegan.
Yeah, I know.
He was scared.
Yeah, because
and they also said MMA star JD. He's only beat waiters and trash collectors and stuff like that. He's not fighting good.
Riding that McGregor wave.
Yes.
He needs to come collect my trash. Freaking. When we moved to the new house, we're trying to set up this trash service. They won't get back to us. So Dylan Dennis, come by my house. Yeah, Dylan Dennis, come to my house, pick up some trash. You trash man. Crab legs. What are the coronavirus-related health and safety precautions taking place on 25th, given that Texas is in bad shape? I am very glad you asked this question because we are taking extreme protocols with this event, not to throw shade at the one that happened in Chicago, but it wasn't the tightest run ship in terms of that stuff, and we're working with USA Wrestling on how to best implement practices that can be make this event as safe as possible. First of all, there's no fans. It's literally just going to be FloWrestling employees, and Ben, you count as that. At being on this show.
What if I would be so pissed if I showed up in Austin? You're like, nah.
Sorry, bro.
Everyone,
nah, bro.
Nah, bro. Nah. So everyone's wearing a mask. You're going to be socially distanced when we interview. You're not going to be right up beside the person like you usually are. I know we're working with the athletes for when they're in their hotels to get food and all that stuff to them so they don't have to leave and they can try to stay away from coming. And there are going to be health screening checks daily for people entering the building and the athletes. So this is going to be a really safe event, and yeah, we're taking every step possible.
Where's the actual match going to be at, Bracky?
It's at a hotel here in Austin, like a big ballroom.
It's at the hotel.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So
wherever we're staying, the match will be in that same place.
Yeah, the Omni Austin Hotel at South Park.
Yes.
And it's the ballroom. It's really nice. So the guys don't even have to leave the building, which would be awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Except I love Austin, but I probably can't even go wander around because people like yell at me or something.
You can wander around. You just need to be wearing a mask.
Okay.
And not that. You alone? Yeah. As long as you're wearing a mask, they'll leave you alone. And not that you're a big bar guy, but I'm not sure bars are open. Yeah.
No clubbing for you, Ben.
I don't go clubbing.
All right. Let's see here. We talked about the leading candidates to replace Downey. This is a good question with Stanford being dropped. What do you see? This is Jeremy Lanthorn, by the way. With Stanford being dropped, what do you see for the future of Pac-12 wrestling? Is it feasible to have a 2-team conference?
I don't know what he means by 2-team conference.
Well, because he probably means that they're the only official members, right? And everyone else is brought in for just affiliate. Yes, that's it.
Legacy members, yeah. Well,
I think
that doesn't matter as much, just as long as you're a member of the conference in that sport. But they are flirting dangerously close. Remember the Big 12 before they added all the affiliate members, the old Western Wrestling Conference and a few others. They only had 4 teams, and none of those guys qualified automatically. Remember, they had to get wild cards their last couple years as a conference like that.
Yeah.
So if you are under, I believe you have to have more than 4. So I think they're at 5 right now with the loss of Stanford.
Yes.
Wait. They are. Okay, got it.
Yeah, they're at 5.
Arizona State, CSU Bakersfield, Oregon State, Cal Poly, and then Little Rock.
Little Rock, yeah. And Stanford will be there this year, and then after next year they'll go back down to 5. But so if they were to lose another program, they wouldn't qualify automatically. They would have to all get wild cards, which is pretty crazy. Like Alex Daringer technically got a wild card one year to NCAA's because his conference only had 4 teams. Yeah, so it's so you're stealing spots from people. Is what you're doing. We talked about where Real Woods will end up. We decided he's going to Michigan, and we will have Shoegate. We will have Anthony Wrestleoff. We will have Izzy.
Every day.
And we will have Mike Palazzo there, right there, ready to go. And then one more Stanford-related question. Going into next season, this is from Save Stanford Wrestling. There's a petition going around. Sign the petition. I don't know if it will help, but it can't hurt. Going into next season, what do you think Stanford will place at NCAA's? And he asks, is this the worst program loss in memory? And I think he means like programs set up to do the best next season that ended up being cut.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, though. Kyle, I think we said this last week, is like historically there's been a handful of programs that were having, good seasons or trending upwards and then got cut. So, success doesn't seem to be the metric that these programs are being measured on. But yes, I mean, well, they're not going to do well next year because Real Woods is going to leave. But if Real stayed there, damn it all, you guys are messing up.
I swear it's real. I promise you it's real.
Okay, all right. Griffith stayed there. If all those guys stayed there, they could have a really good season with who they're bringing in. But obviously, I don't think that'll be the case.
Yeah, we had them. So this includes Real, obviously. We had them 23rd in the preseason rankings, but that also is with Real's ranked a little bit lower in our rankings than what he was seated at. Like he was a 3 seed at Nationals. I think he's 8 or 9 in our rankings just because his wins aren't all that great, and it's not his fault.
It was just scuffle, pretty much.
Right, and it's not his fault with the schedule he faced. His only loss was to Pletcher and Sun Victory. And then I don't think Jaden Abbas was ranked super high just because I think his best win was Andrew Alirez, who ended up finishing the season in the 18-19 range.
Definitely a team that could have placed top 15-10.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing is they had more upside than what's on here. So yeah, I would say they would have been a top 15 team at Nationals, if not top 10, depending on how high Woods and Griffith climbed on the podium. Yeah. But as you mentioned, success has nothing to do with it. Yeah. And I guess something we never talked about with Stanford is they were sponsoring the second most varsity sports in the country. They had 36, which is insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, they didn't just cut 1 or 2 sports. Well, it was 11 or 13. 11, yeah.
Yeah, it was 11. And, I mean, most Power 5 schools do the bare minimum.
like 20-ish or 18.
Less than that for most. You're looking
really
yeah,
less than that.
Yeah, you're probably looking between like 15 and 18 for most. And the majority of them have more female sports than men's sports because of the football scholarship numbers in Title IX. So, it was insane that they were carrying that many to start with. I guess what is really disheartening to me is seeing wrestling get lumped in with some of the sports that got the axe. It's because like some of these sports, and I'm trying to pull it up right here, aren't like NCAA funded. So to see so the school will discontinue men's and women's fencing. Okay, like why do we need NCAA men's and women's fencing?
Don't be a bully, Bracky.
Lightweight rowing? No, I'm gonna be a bully with some of this BS.
Lightweight rowing? There's
lightweight
different
rowing.
Than regular rowing?
I don't know because they cut men's rowing too. So I guess the small guys, you have lightweight rowing, and then you have men's rowing. Why don't you just be a man and just do men's rowing? Yeah, I'm serious. Co-ed and women's sailing. Okay, sailing's not a sport. That's a hobby.
Well, it's also not a NCAA sponsored.
Right.
It's like club level. They don't have an NCAA championships.
Correct. Squash. Wrestling was lumped in with squash. Synchronized swimming. And then I don't understand how men's volleyball is in with these sports either, because they were 5 or 6 years removed from making the NCAA finals. It just seems like men's volleyball and wrestling really are very different from these other sports, and it doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Well, it's crazy too. Stanford is good at sports across the board. Like when I wrote an article last week about Penn State's dynasty, and I was looking at all the other sports at the NCAA level that are going through dynasties, and like Stanford volleyball, powerhouse, like women's tennis, their swimming and diving team, like they're really good at sports just across the board.
They really pride themselves on the Olympic sports.
Yes.
And the Capital One Cup, which keeps track of how every school does in every sport throughout the calendar year, they've won like 20 years in a row. Now they have more programs than everyone but Ohio State, but they've won that a ridiculous amount of times in a row, and it's just crazy that they could. I mean, they're estimating like $70 million deficit right now, which is what they're using to base this off. But yeah.
Damn.
All right. Anyone have anything else before we go?
Tough time to be an NCAA sports fan in general.
Yes.
It is. It really is. I think college athletics are some of my favorite things to follow, and it's Ben, I really think you might be right that higher education could be in trouble.
Yes.
So that's depressing. Let's just go before we get more.
Yeah. All right.
Happy Tuesday, folks.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that. Remember all the fun times we have with Greg Warren. Just remember that. He was awesome.
Go watch a special on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Where the field corn grows. Everyone needs a laugh right now.
Even though he came after Iowa farmers.
That's what is great, is because all the people in the audience are farmers, and in the special they have a little fun with them after he's done. They do a little interview segment with him, so it's a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, same crew. We're gonna run it back one more time, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah.